welcome back for another Not Too Shabby Shop Design Team project. Today I'm featuring 4 Christmas tags. These are quick and easy tags that you can make. I am using the November stamp and die of the month. The new stamp and die for December will be released tomorrow. So here's a look at the ornament. This ornament was what gave me the idea for the tags, because when the die cuts it out, not only does it cut out the outline, but there are also some little holes underneath where the bow loops are. And I thought that that was the perfect place to thread through either string or twine, or in my case, thread. And so I thought these would make perfect little tags. I do not do a whole lot of tags for Christmas. Actually, I don't buy a whole lot of presents for Christmas. So I give away little goodies and things like that. But as far as under my Christmas tree, we have a very minimal amount that we purchase. So I don't need a whole bunch of tags, and this was a great idea to be able to decorate my packages with something really cute without having to spend a lot of money and use what I already have. This stamp and die of the month is sold out, so if you're lucky enough to have it, this is an inspiration video. If you do not have this stamp and die, you could certainly take some of the techniques that I'm sharing today and you can use them. Look at some of your other products that you have in your stash, and you can create tags in the same way. I'm going to finish up this coloring. I do color the pink on all 4 layers of the ornament, and then finally I'm going to bring in a little bit of green. Now for all of these tags, I used purples, I used pink, reds, greens, and blues. And then I just kind of alternated the colors that I used on the ornaments to give them all a little bit of a different look. The dies do come together, so you do need to snip them apart. I'm going to show you how easy it is. I just have a piece of wire snips, and they're super easy. If you don't have wire snips, you certainly could just twist them apart. I do want to say that you would get kind of sharp edges on the edge, so I highly recommend having just some wire snips in your craft room so that you can clean them up nicely. They do die cut beautifully, as you can see right there. I did cut out an extra white tag using that accent opaque cardstock, and I've scored the very top of that piece of the ornament. So this is going to be a 2-piece ornament for ornament number 1. I'm going to reinforce that score line, and then I'm going to take a tag set from Lawn Fawn. This is a very old stamp set that I've had for a long time. I'm going to use some VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I'm going to stamp to and from. Then the very top of that ornament, I'm going to add some glue. So this is an idea for tag number 1. I'm just going to add some glue to the very top, and then I will match it up with the colored ornament. I'm going to mention right here that you're going to see the coloring underneath if you do the tag this way. One way to avoid that would have been to cut a second piece of that accent opaque paper and just back the colored ornament with that, and then you wouldn't have the coloring underneath, as I'm going to show you in just a moment. I did use the thread, so I took this gold thread and I took the bottom portion of the ornament where I told you that the die cuts out, and you'll see it right here. And there you can see the coloring. So if you wanted to just back that with another piece of accent opaque, you certainly could. So I just threaded that thread through, tied it in a knot, and that is tag number 1. Tag number 2 is going to be similar, except this time when I cut my second piece, I'm going to glue the entire piece to the back of my ornament. Now you're not going to see the coloring. I'm going to add the to and the from to the back. So with tag number 1, one, you certainly could write a message on the back of the tag because it does have the front side and the back side of that white ornament. This one, you're not going to have the room to write any type of message. You're just going to be able to write who it's going to and obviously that it's from you. I have a third tag. This time I used the Lawn Fawn, I believe it's the tiny tags as well. And I cut out a tag using Accent Opaque, and then I cut a second one out that's going to be a white tag as well. So I'm going to do some ink blending using Villainous Potion and Prize Ribbon. I do have a candy stripe stencil from my stash, and I'm doing some very easy ink blending. I'm going to take that second tag and we're going to put our sentiment on the inside. Now I chose to go with a do not open until December 25th. I can write my to and from underneath that, or I can write a message and my to and from on the back. Either way is going to work. For this one, we are not going to glue the tag together. We are going to hold it together using a piece of seam binding. So I'm going to cut this seam binding. You can obviously cut these threads and seam bindings to any length that you like. I'm going to twist it so that I can get it through the hole of my tag. Once I put both of those tags together, I'm going to feed this through. Where the loop is, I'm going to separate that. I'll take the tails and I'll put the tails through that loop and tighten that up. And now we have a topper for our tag. I'm going to trim that down to the length that I want. Here I thought I was going to use that blue ornament and I forgot that I had already backed it with a sentiment. So I do have another purple ornament that I'm going to add some foam tape to. I'm going to pop that up. And then I'm going to glue it to the front of my tag. I do need to add some string to the second tag that we created, but I am going to show you all three tags that are finished right now. I did want to mention that the Stamp and Die of the Month is a subscription that you can get 18% off the purchase price if you subscribe. So they would auto ship the Stamp and Die to you each month. If you don't want to do an auto ship and you don't want to subscribe, you can purchase the Stamp and Die at full price, or you can purchase just the stamp alone. So there are several different options for this Stamp and Die of the Month. I'm going on to tag number 4, and I did want to create a tag that I could use. It's going to be a little bit bigger. I chose not to add any ribbon to this. I'm going to show you that you can add ribbon if you choose to, but on this one I decided not to. I thought that this would be really cute to go on like little hot cocoa mixes or packets, and that I could give these out as friends. So that's one of the things that I do. I do a little bit of baking, and I pass out packages and cards to my neighbors. I do this for the girls in my Bible study, and so I thought that this little tag would be perfect for a little hot cocoa pack. For the penguin, I used a C9, C7, and C5. I'm going to add some creases to the top of my Santa hat. I didn't want to go with the pinkish red. I decided I wanted to be a little bit different and make his hat green. So to add the creases, I took my darkest color, and you can see I added that little triangle right there. I do reinforce my coloring, and where I forgot to add the little crease at where the hat bends, I just went over it the second time and I added that crease at that time with my darkest marker. I'm going to add a little bit of green to the body so that his little shirt has some green, and then I'm going to color in his little bill. And once I color in his bill, I'm going to finish. That's going to be the end of my coloring. I am going to finish coloring him off camera, and then I will use the coordinating die to go ahead and cut him out. I do have a die from my stash that has kind of like a postage edge and a chevron on the inside of it. That is going to be the base of my tag. You certainly could just use a rectangle, a circle, any other plain shape that you have. In order to back that chevron, I did need to add a piece of pink cardstock, so I used my rectangle infinity dies to make sure that I got a perfect straight edge. This is where I can add my sentiment, my to, and my from, and it's also going to add a little bit more color to this tag. I'm going to add some foam tape to the back of my penguin, and then I'm going to glue the ornament directly down, and we'll move on to the sentiment. So I did need to add the penguin because I was going to use the sentiment that says hot cocoa fixes everything. The sentiments do have coordinating dies, which is awesome. And so I'm going to use Be Mine from Catherine Pooler. I'm going to ink up my stamp, and then off camera I will cut it out using the coordinating die. I'm going to glue that die directly down to my little postage backing right here. I'm going to show you in that left hand corner. I could certainly punch a hole there if I wanted to just add a little bit of string, and there are all 4 of my tags. So I hope this gave you some ideas. Maybe you have some stamps and dies in your stash that you can use. Until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for watching.